I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me. And I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
Beginning as early as 1927 with the silent film Metropolis, Hollywood has always had a deep fascination with robots and artificial intelligences. The artificial intelligences we have been presented with in movies have been diverse in their functions. Some have been simple maids, trusty sidekicks, others just seemingly regular guys with metal insides and metal skin.
I've just about had enough of you. Go that way. You'll be malfunctioning within a day, you nearsighted scrap pile.
In other more morbid instances, these film robots have turned against their human counterparts, and in the Terminator film franchise, even go as far as to decimate the entire human race in an event known as Judgment Day. Luckily for all of us, that hasn't happened yet. However, the artificial intelligences that were once thought to be purely science fiction have rapidly turned into reality with the help of the most brilliant minds America has to offer. And I ask, what is more American than that? Taking what seems to be the impossible and working at it unceasingly until it becomes a reality? That's the definition of what it means to be an American.
I am Electro, mightiest of all robots. I was created by Westinghouse.
The beginnings of the artificial intelligence can be traced to the mid-20th century when interest in the concept began to arise in the United States. The first known artificial intelligence in the United States was created by Westinghouse, with a robot they called Electro, which debuted at the World's Fair in 1939. Electro was a novice-like machine, as his only real functions were walking, talking, and smoking, but nothing of the sort had been seen to this point in time. Millions of people stood in line to watch Electro perform in person during the 1939-1940s World Fair, mesmerized by the human-like machine. Although the machine was not very useful and its abilities limited, the debut of Electro marked the start of America's fascination with the artificial intelligence.
Sometimes. But I don't see why I'm telling Electro's story when he's perfectly able to tell his own. So let's listen and see what Electro has to say to us today. All right, Electro, will you tell your story, please?
Who? Me?
Yes, you.
Okay, Toots.
2 years after Electro's debut at the World's Fair, in 1941, a less glamorous but arguably more crucial breakthrough was made in the field of robotics. American-born scientist and professor at MIT, Norbert Wiener published his now famous work, Cybernetics, or Control and Communication in the Animal and the Machine. Cybernetics introduced the concept of feedback, meaning a machine uses its environment and artificially produced stimuli to act and adapt independent of human control. This is crucial because the ability to learn from past mistakes and adapt to surroundings is something only living beings are capable of. So having a machine replicate this process means it is one step closer to replicating human intelligence. Another major breakthrough. Wiener was also the first to consider the idea of using a complex code or algorithm that acts as the brain of the machine, now a process that is used ubiquitously in computer programming and technological engineering all across America. Theorizing about how an artificial intelligence can function and actually making one are two different things, however. Fast forward to 1955 when, taking what they had learned from Wiener's book, Alan Newell, Herbert Simon, and Cliff Shaw created the logic theorist. The logic theorist was the first machine to show signs of truly intelligent, independent behavior, as it was able to prove 38 mathematical theorems and even discover a new one on its own, something it was not specifically coded to do. This is huge because a machine had now done something with its artificial mind that most humans are incapable of doing. Now seeing what machines were truly capable of, some Americans began to take notice. American businesses realized that by introducing artificial intelligence, products could be made more efficiently and therefore more money could be made. The first example of this was in 1961 when General Motors introduced Unimate, the first ever robot to be mass-produced. Unimate worked by obeying step-by-step commands that had been hardwired into its system, allowing it to function without any human interaction. Unimate assembled the car just as humans had before, but now it was doing it in a way that was more efficient and cost-effective than ever before.
Automation's newest contribution to man. This jack-of-all-trades robot is called Unimate, and it handles dull, difficult, or dangerous jobs with equal aplomb. His electronic memory helps him learn up to 200 separate movements. He has muscle, can pick up 75 pounds, and can stand extreme heat, cold, noxious odors, toxic gases, and radiation. He's accurate to 500...
As you can see in the clip, Unimate is not performing any tasks that would be impossible for a human, but it can perform them with less error than the average person, and generally at a quicker pace. The idea was revolutionary.
Elsewhere in the factory. He costs $20,000 or rents for $7,000 a year. He never complains, asks for a promotion, or demands a pay raise. He doesn't break, bend, or burn, and should make some other Unimate a perfect husband. Or maybe wife?
This concept was continuously improved upon for the next 50 years with the introduction of more intelligent, faster, and larger machines with abilities that the creators of Unimate most likely could not even fathom. Unimate-like machines are now a staple of all large manufacturing companies in the world. Perhaps the most substantial impact artificial intelligence has had on the workplace is its introduction into the medical field. In the 1980s, robots began to assist doctors in surgical procedures in some of the more established hospitals throughout the United States, such as Johns Hopkins Hospital. These machines were generally put into place to perform tasks that doctors could not, such as making very small and precise incisions and reaching parts of the body that are not easily reached with standard medical tools. The technology has advanced to such great lengths that, beginning in the late 2000s, some medical procedures have been performed entirely via an artificial intelligence, with no human doctor present in the operation room. Although such operations are rare, it has been predicted that as much as 80% of tasks currently performed by a doctor will be replaced by artificial intelligence in the coming decade. What most Americans don't realize is that AI already plays a role in their life. What some would consider the future is already here. With the debut of Apple's Siri application in 2011, anyone who owned an iPhone 4S now carried an artificial intelligence with them in their pocket everywhere they went. Although some users may write it off as a gimmick to sell phones, which maybe it is in some form, what it is at its core is a sophisticated personal assistant that can retrieve information at the drop of a dime and even make conversation. Well, at least to some extent. In terms of the actual future, well, Siri is only the beginning of the integration of artificial intelligence into the everyday life of the average American. For starters, other companies such as Google, Samsung, and Microsoft have followed Apple's lead by adding a personal assistant of their own to their competing smartphones. So if you don't have Siri, chances are you have a similar application. Beyond just smartphones, though, the number of AIs in other parts of daily life is sure to increase substantially over the next few years. The self-checkout machines that can be found in some restaurants, department stores, and other chain businesses are only going to become more commonplace as employers look to cut their workforce and increase profit. Over the past few years, Google's began to release their self-driving cars on public roads, and only a few weeks ago, Uber announced that they would be testing self-driving cars in the Pittsburgh areas. And in universities across America, college students are in labs working endlessly on different variations of robots, from ones that run as fast as cheetahs to ones that can shoot a free throw as well as any player in the NBA. The only question is when we, us Americans as a whole, will learn to embrace artificial intelligence as it is inevitable, and in doing so, use it as a force for good, not a force for bad. After all, being able to adapt is a part of the American way.